Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
April 1, 2020, the Not Fools edition. First up, from the New York Times, when you think about your supply chain, most Western companies think about the impact of coronavirus COVID-19 on supplying goods. However, the empty shopping malls of Western cities are going to be placing the livelihoods of thousands of garment workers in Bangladesh in potential peril, and as factory owners face financial ruin. The president of the Bangladesh Garment Manufacturers and Exporters Association said, "Our situation is apoplectic. The cancellations and hold instructions coming in from Western fashion retailers are pushing us to the point of insolvency with massive open capacity and raw materials liabilities." Fashion retailers, of course, have their own problems in the United States since most of them are closed, and those that are still open, no one's going to buy clothes. Next up, the Chinese company, which says it is not run by the Chinese government, Huawei, says that the Chinese government will retaliate against U.S. companies if further restrictions are placed on Huawei's access to suppliers. Well, no surprise there, and for Huawei claiming it wasn't run by the Chinese government, I sure think that's a shot across the bow. The chairman of the company warned the U.S. to expect countermeasures from the Chinese government, and he said he believes Beijing would respond with restrictions on U.S. companies operating in China if the U.S. follows through with reported plans to cut off Huawei's access to a major Taiwanese chip supplier. So once again, the U.S. government's trade sanctions actions put U.S. companies in peril, although they don't seem to care too much about that. Next up, some good news from the Houston Chronicle that British Petroleum BP tells workers that their jobs are safe for 3 months. Some bad news for workers is that they may not have jobs after 3 months. But BP has promised employees their jobs are safe, while other oil majors consider ways to cut costs with human capital, i.e. employees. CEO Bernard Looney said the company would take calm, deliberate action to manage its capital cost in response to the oil crash now below $20. The measures would not include making any BP staff redundant over the next 3 months. I will have to say that if BP starts laying people off, everybody should cash out of oil stocks or buy into them, because the apoplectic situation will be at energy companies if BP has to start furloughing people, as Halliburton has done so far. And finally, from the Mexico News Daily, we have a detention of an ex-Pemex official over a 27 million peso, that's about $1.1 million, alleged bribe after coming after 3 fuel companies allegedly gave him money for tankers that were never delivered. The former director of operations at Pemex Logistics, Luis Alberto Santander, promised companies a total of 700 tankers of gallons in exchange for a 30% advance, but allegedly never came through with his side of the deal. The Special Corruption Division of the FRG executed an arrest warrant for him and probable cause of his crimes. So it's good to see that Pemex is under investigation, and now we have an arrest of an ex-Pemex official allegedly for accepting bribes. I am proud to announce a new podcast premiering this week on the Compliance Podcast Network. It's Compliance and Coronavirus. I wanted to bring some clarity and sanity to the compliance practitioner around coronavirus. So for the next foreseeable future, at least 8 weeks, I'll be podcasting Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of each week on a topic related to coronavirus, COVID-19. Check it out with the Daily Compliance News.